People are kind of confused about what's relevant and what isn't in the newspaper. It's a lot of paper, much of it not worth keeping. The first thing I could advise people who are confronted with information overload is the safest bet is not to read the newspaper every day. If you read the newspaper every day, you'll only get confused. The safest thing to do is to save your newspapers until the end of the week and read it like a good novel. You'll find out how things come out. The second point is to list your questions. Going into any kind of reading or research without knowing what you want to know only confuses you further. The first question is, why did this happen? You know, why did this and this was easy to figure out. I found it in the early December issue of the Free Press, December 5th, frustration. People were very frustrated in Washington. They weren't getting to do what they wanted to do. It's right there in the headline. Frustration is why we have a crisis. When did Reagan know? Everybody wants to know. At first, Reagan denied everything. He denied knowing anything. And that was early in December, December 6th. But eventually we found out Reagan did know a little bit. McFarlane points finger at President. Well, what I found from reading these two articles is that Reagan knew about this at least a year ago, but in all likelihood he forgot, and so really he didn't know. Is Bush telling the truth? This has been a particular concern to me, and for those kind of tough questions, I always have to turn to David Broder. I just want to read you a paragraph of this. What George Bush has done on this occasion, as on others, is to tell the truth, but not the whole truth. Out of loyalty, he has stopped short of expressing his own feelings or setting forth the record of his own actions. What he has not said is crucial. So really the answer to that question is Bush would like to tell the truth, but he's promised that he wouldn't. I was also worried about who's the administration going to call on to solve these problems. They have a crisis. So that's my fourth question. If you have a scandal, who are you going to call? That was in the Burlington Free Press. Nixon. Obviously, the real expert about this kind of situation is Richard Nixon. And Richard Nixon had some very plain advice, very simple advice. It's not going to be another Watergate as long as you stay ahead of the curve. There are two kinds of people in Washington right now. There are grown-ups and juveniles. The grown-ups recognize that this is a disaster. The juveniles, of course, have no sense, and they're involved in an orgy of Reagan bashing. And David Broder suggests that we have to be spared these juveniles who won't learn or can't understand that the presidency is too damned important for their mock war games. Who's to blame? Well, that's a very important one, yeah. Who's to blame? The list is quite long. I had to go to USA Today for that. They had a list of all the people to blame. Basically, I found out that really this is not Iran-gate. It's Iran, Israel, Switzerland, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Canada, Salt Lake City-gate. All those people are involved. There are interests throughout the world involved, and really you could have quite a long list. If you wanted, however, to get information on your own, you'd have to go to the NSC. Now, the question is, how do you get information out of the NSC? The answer to that is, I found that in the Free Press in December 16th. The answer is you don't get information from the NSC. NSC rules require that all requests for comments from its staff members be routed through the Council's public affairs spokesman. What that means is essentially that all the information we're getting has been coming from official sources from the NSC. And as far as you and I are concerned, forget it. The final question I had was, did we really trade hostages for arms with terrorists in order to help other terrorists? And the answer to that, I had to put all of these together, and I think my conclusion is that no, we did not, and we're not going to do it again either.